In today's episode of the Red Delta Project podcast, I'm going to be discussing why nearly every weight loss and dietary attempt is ultimately doomed to failure, and the unique approach we have here at the RDP to circumvent this situation. Hello there, my name is Matt Schifferly. I'm an inventor, author of books like Smart Bodyweight Training and Fitness Independence, and of course founder of the Red Delta Project, which is your resource for simple and efficient diet and exercise tips that enhance your health and fitness without compromising your quality of life. So it's the New Year's time. It's that annual time of year when everybody's trying to make resolutions to lose and control their weight. Sometimes it's holiday weight gain or what have you, but there's all sorts of ads out there promising the latest and greatest in diets, in weight loss programs, in food programs, whatever it is, right? You can finally lose weight, right? But I always scratch my head this time of year thinking, when are we going to realize it's kind of like the same old song and dance every year? We always do the same thing every year. It never works. And then next year we're pulled into the same old thing again. It's kind of like old reruns of Gilligan's Island. This time we've got it right. This time we've got a foolproof plan. This time I'm going to make it work for... Oh, wait, never mind. Screwed that up. Well, there's always next episode, right? It keeps happening. And one of the reasons why it keeps happening is because we keep ignoring one of the most basic, most powerful laws of Mother Nature that basically makes every weight loss method doomed to absolute failure. And I say that with air quotes when I say that, because it's actually not failure. It's actually supposed to work exactly that way. I know a lot of people come in front of me in my trainer's office and they sit down and like, I was losing weight on this diet, or I was losing weight with this program, and suddenly it stopped working. I'm not losing weight anymore. I don't know what I did wrong. My answer is always the same. Nothing went wrong. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't mess anything up. Every weight loss program is supposed to produce short-term temporary weight loss and then prevent you from losing weight. And that's because the law of homeostasis rules all. The law of homeostasis is the most powerful law in Mother Nature. It governs everything, from the creation and destruction of entire galaxies to your body fat levels. So naturally, it makes sense. We got to understand this thing, because if you don't know about this natural law, it's like jumping off a building and ignoring gravity. It's to your own detriment. But if you understand the law and how to use it, then it's going to be to your own benefit. And that's what we do here with our unique method called calorie hacking. And calorie hacking, I've written a short ebook about it. Hasn't been available for a long time, but if you go to the RDP YouTube channel, the video for December 25th is 8 free ebooks that you can download. The links are there in the description. Calorie Hacking is one of those ebooks. So if you prefer to get this in ebook, you can check out that video. It's still up, again, at the December 25th video on the RDP YouTube channel. So calorie hacking uses the law of homeostasis to your benefit rather than your detriment. And the reason why this works is because homeostasis is all about two factors in balance with one another. And in the world of weight loss, it's about the energy coming into your body and the energy going out of your body. Now, you technically cannot be in a negative calorie balance. It's not possible to do it. If you burn 2,000 calories, you've consumed 2,000 calories, at least. You cannot burn 1,500 and only consume 1,000. Because it's just mathematically not possible. There's no such thing as a caloric line of credit. You have to burn the same amount as you consume, or rather the other way around. You have to consume the same number you burn. The difference is, where is the source coming from? If you burn 2,000 units of energy, you're consuming 2,000, but some of it comes from food, some of it comes from your own body, which, not to be too morbid, but that's also food. It's a source of calories. So when we lose weight, what we're doing is we're consuming less than we're burning from food. So you're burning 2,000, but eating roughly about 1,000 in that time, so you're making up the difference from your own body's stores. And you can do it from your body fat levels, ideally. You can do it from sugar, your glycogen stored in your liver, your muscles, and your blood, and of course, muscles. And that's how we lose weight, is your body saying, you're not eating enough, I've got to make up the difference by literally eating your own self. I know it kind of sounds a little morbid, but that's what's going on here. But what ends up happening when this process kicks in is your body sees this as a threat to your very survival. We may step on the scale and be like, woohoo, I'm 5 pounds lighter, this is great, I'm going to look hot for my cruise this summer. But your body, on the other hand, is thinking, code red. This is very bad because it understands that prolonged weight loss eventually ends in very poor health, performance, and ultimately death. That's how people starve to death. Prolonged weight loss is actually a threat to your very survival, even though we don't like to think of it in that long-term effect. So whenever you're in a caloric imbalance, your body has evolved a very complicated process to pull you back into a homeostatic balance, even if it's against your will. And it's largely misunderstood at this point. There's a lot of things that happen to make this happen. There's emotional changes, there's physiological changes, there's mental changes. But the bottom line is it's basically decreasing your caloric expenditure and increasing your caloric intake to pull you back into that balance. Things like increase in hunger, increase in cravings, your palatability for super calorie foods can increase, your gut bacteria changes how you're digesting foods, your caloric expenditure changes by decreasing your energy level, your immune system gets depressed. I could go on, but the bottom line is you burn less and it's somehow trying to get you to eat more so you get back into a homeostasis, even if you don't recognize that's what's happening. So when you step on that scale and you're like, damn it, I'm not losing weight anymore, the diet's not working, in the point of view of your body, it's saying, nope, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. I just saved your life. I just pulled you back into homeostasis so you cannot die within the next couple of months. So this is the reality that we face with any weight loss program. It doesn't matter what the science is behind it. Every prolonged change that you make to your diet or exercise program is guaranteed to eventually pull you back into homeostasis so you essentially stay among the living. So your body's got that as an objective, but you're trying to continue losing weight, but your body doesn't care about that. It doesn't care about whether or not you've got abs or you look great for your high school reunion. All it cares is, can I keep you alive? And by pulling you back into homeostasis and preventing you from losing weight, that's a victory. So it's kind of a pickle that we're in. And there's nothing you can do to prevent this. It's going to happen. Sometimes you hear of people of really iron will or against their will, like they're in a prison or something where they can prevent this from happening. But again, it's called starving to death. It's not a pretty picture, and it's certainly not the ideal picture of health and well-being. So it can happen. So basically, those are your options. You're either going to die or you're going to regain homeostasis and stop losing weight. Usually, that's the way it works. So what can you do about this? Like, how does calorie hacking work to prevent this? Well, the reason why your body regains homeostasis and goes through all those physiological, mental, and even emotional adaptations to pull you back into that calorie balance is because the situation you give it is prolonged. You're on the diet for weeks or months at a time. You adapt that exercise program for weeks or months at a time, so it gives the body time to adjust and adapt. But calorie hacking isn't long-term. It's a very short-term effect so that it doesn't give you the ability to adapt long-term, but it's still heavy enough and hits you hard enough to remove calories from your body so you can still lose weight. It's short-term. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can do it by having a short-term great increase in calorie expenditure. So this is usually done where you have a lot of physical activity that you do, like you go off to a 3-day boot camp, or you are splitting wood, for example, for a couple of days to get ready for the winter, or you decide to go out for a 3 or 4 hour hike on a whim. Something that has you physically active to a decent amount for a pretty relatively long period of time, few hours to a few days at a time. But after that, you're done. You can also decrease your caloric intake. One of the most popular ways this is happening these days is fasting. People, they don't eat for 24 hours or a 12-hour window. You can also significantly decrease your portion sizes. So whatever you're normally used to eating, cut it in half. So for a day or two, you have half of what you normally eat. In either case, what you're doing is you're throwing yourself out of caloric balance, out of that homeostatic balance for a short period of time, and then purposely bringing yourself back to homeostasis to regain that that balance without setting off the alarm bells within like 24 to 48 hours. And then some time goes by, you regain your balance, you get all cozy, and then you do it again. And this is what you can do to prevent yourself from having that homeostatic adaptation, but still get calories out of your system and effectively lose weight. Now, there's a number of practical ways you can go. Don't go and not eat anything for the next month or so or anything like that thinking that's going to work. There's a couple of things you got to do about this first, and some pitfalls you have to recognize. The first thing is, here at RDP, we have two different topics that we focus on. Calorie hacking is for weight loss, but we have an approach here called healthy eating. And healthy eating is just basically a healthy approach to eating and using food for your health and well-being. Now, it's very important to understand that healthy eating and weight loss, totally separate. They are different topics. In my book, Fitness Independence, they're different chapters because diet is about being happy, healthy, and well-being. It's not about weight loss. It's not supposed to cause weight loss. It's not about being thinner. Healthy diet is about sustaining you and satisfying your appetites. That's what it's there for. Your diet isn't there to make you lose weight. Calorie hacking is the tool. That's supposed to make you lose weight, and they're not the same thing. And one of the best ways that you can employ calorie hacking is to first have a healthier diet to begin with. So when people are like, I want to start losing weight, the first thing I do is don't even worry about weight loss just yet. Let's get your diet and exercise habits stable first. Let's get your healthy eating habits established. Now, sometimes this can induce weight loss, especially for individuals who are more heavy set, because a big body with a lot of body fat actually requires a lot of calories to maintain. It's not the easiest thing to maintain from a caloric standpoint. And a lot of times when people adjust to the principles of healthy eating, where they're satisfying their appetite of hunger, satisfying the appetite of nutritional needs, palatability, and energy level, and they're not trying to overdo it, then their caloric adjustments are made so they're not overindulging so much, and they're no longer sustaining that level of body fat, so they find oftentimes that weight loss is a result. Not always, but it's not the goal. A healthy diet isn't about weight loss. It's about being happier and healthier with food and using food to your greatest benefit. But once you get into that stable environment of having healthy eating habits, then weight loss is a heck of a lot easier. One of the biggest reasons why a lot of people fail in their endeavor to lose weight is they're trying to make their diet healthy and lose weight at the same time. And in many ways, especially from your body's perspective, they're counterproductive. In order to lose weight, you have to do something that is actually unhealthy in the long run, which is expend more energy than you're consuming. And again, we often think of losing weight and being leaner as a symbol of health and well-being, but that's a fairly new invention we came up with. We dreamed that one up out of our subconscious or our imagination. When the reality is, losing weight is usually a sign of illness or famine or sickness or some sort of disorders that you're not eating well enough. Being leaner and losing weight is usually a sign of something bad, not good. And your body certainly recognizes it as such. That's why it's a lot easier to lose weight once your diet is healthier to begin with. If your diet is very unhealthy, you're not satisfying your hunger, you're not nutritionally very sound, you're not getting a lot of nutritional quality from whole foods, your energy level's all up and down, left and right, and one day, or you eat something and you're exhausted afterwards and your food isn't energizing you, or you're not getting that palatability, enjoyment from food, it's almost impossible to have any sort of weight loss method work because your body, again, is more concerned with keeping you healthy than having you lose weight. But once you have healthy eating habits established first, then it's a lot easier to go off of that solid foundation. Remember the saying we have here at the Red Delta Project, stabilize and progress. First you stabilize, then you progress. Don't try to go the other way around. So have your stable eating habits for a healthy diet first with the healthy eating principles that I talk about in Fitness Independence. I have another podcast if you want to find more. There's a whole playlist on the YouTube channel and a section on the blog at the RDP blog. But first, have healthy eating habits established. Then, once you're starting to get your diet healthier, you're taking care of your hunger, you're eating lots of nutritious foods, you're satisfying your palate so you don't have any cravings anymore, and your energy level is nice and sustained, then you can use the calorie hacking methods, and they're going to be way more effective because you've already got the whole health and fitness thing taken care of. So you can use a couple of fasts a week, portion sizes decreasing, increasing caloric expenditure. But a couple last little parting words of advice here is, remember, your body adapts to patterns and habits. So a lot of times, especially with fasting, I see this happen where people will say, yeah, I do fasting every like Tuesday and Thursday for this amount of time. And it's like, okay, good. But if it's consistently the same, your body's going to adapt to that. You're going to get used to it. So it's going to figure out how to maintain homeostasis under those fasting conditions. And a lot of times what ends up happening with calorie hacking is people will hack calories through either exercise or a fast or something, but then they'll end up adjusting something the next couple of days afterwards to replenish the calories they burned and they lost. So they'll increase their portion sizes, they will decrease their amount of physical activity, they'll eat a little bit more, and it doesn't take much to regain it back. Even a few extra bites here and there is enough. You have like a couple of snacks and boom, you put it right on back. It's really easy to do. So that's another reason why you want to have a healthy, stable diet first. Because if you have stable eating habits, you know what you're eating, how much you're eating, when you're eating it, and so on. So when you finish a calorie hack, you know what you're going back to. And it's a lot easier to maintain your homeostasis without putting it back if you know what a normal day of eating looks like for you. But if your diet's all over the place, it's really easy to mistakenly put it all back. Last thing too is, don't feel like you can use this to monitor or to make up for discretions in eating. This is where binge purge cycles come about. And one of the things that I'm sometimes worried about with fasting, where especially like during the holidays, where someone's like, oh, I'm going to really overindulge today and I'll go to the gym and make it up tomorrow. I'll do a calorie hack over the next couple days and make up for it. Or I'll fast, or I'll eat a lot less tomorrow and stuff. This is not a good recipe at all to be following, because then you get into the binge purge cycle where you go through a hack, which is very stressful, very hard, then you binge, you overindulge, you feel guilty, then you do through another hack, and it's just this cycle that you get stuck in. I used to do this, it was what I called the cardio trap back in school, where I would eat a whole lot, then I'd feel guilty, then I'd go to the gym, work myself to death for like 3 hours, come back, be starving and tired, and then I'd eat a whole lot, and the cycle would begin. I would eat a lot because I was exercising so much, and then I'd exercise so much because I was eating a lot. So it's two exhausting habits that are feeding on each other, and you're getting basically battered on either side of it. So calorie hacking is meant to be opportunistic. Plan it out. Don't just use it on last minute things. Look at your week and say, what kind of day is best for a 12-hour fast? Or what kind of day can I skip a meal or have a lot less for lunch? When you're looking at your work calendar and saying, well, there's not much going on that day. So that way you're not doing a hack during like a stressful meeting or something where your emotions are kind of frayed, and then you're more likely to come home and order up a lot of Chinese food or something. Plan out your hacks. Keep them inconsistent, but at opportune times and around your life schedule. That way you can feel like you're in control of when you're burning your calories rather than the other way around. So there you go. That's calorie hacking. Again, don't forget, check out the ebook on the the link is in the description for the December 25th video on the YouTube channel, the RDP YouTube channel. Questions, reddeltaproject@gmail.com. And as always, thank you very much for listening. I'll talk to you guys next week. Till then, be fit, live free.